In the scriptures, there are numerous testimonies and accounts of people of God who went through extreme sorrow and distress and even depression. And God did not hold this against them. In fact, God is merciful and he is compassionate. So let's look at what Job went through in Job chapter 3 and what Job did. It says, afterward, Job opened his mouth and cursed the day he was born. The day of his birth, Job cursed the day of his birth. And Job said, let the day perish on which I was to be born, and the night which said, a boy is conceived. May that day be darkness, let not God above care for it, nor light shine on it. Let darkness and black gloom claim it. Let a cloud settle on it. Let the blackness of the day terrify it. As for that night, let darkness seize it. Let it not rejoice among the days of the year. Let it not come into the number of the months. Behold, let that night be barren. Let no joyful shout enter it. Let those curse it who curse the day, who are prepared to rouse Leviathan. Let the stars of its twilight be darkened. Let it wait for light, but have none. And let it not see the breaking dawn. Because it did not shut the opening of my mother's womb, or hide trouble from my eyes. Why did I not die at birth, come forth from the womb, and expire? Why did the knees receive me, and why the breast that I should suck? For now I would have lain down and been quiet. I would have slept then. I would have been at rest. With kings and with counselors of the earth who rebuilt ruins for themselves, or with princes who had gold, who were filling their houses with silver, or like a miscarriage which is discarded, I would not be, as infants that never saw the light. There the wicked cease from raging, and there the weary are at rest. The prisoners are at ease together. They do not hear the voice of the taskmaster. The small and the great are there, and the slave is free from his master. Why is light given to him who suffers, and life to the bitter of soul, who long for death, but there is none, and dig for it more than for hidden treasures, who rejoice greatly and exult when they find the grave? Why is light given to a man whose way is hidden, and whom God has hedged in? For my groaning comes at the sight of my food, and my cries pour out like water. For what I fear comes upon me, and what I dread befalls me. I am not at ease, nor am I quiet, and I am not at rest, but turmoil comes. In all this distress, cursing the day of his birth, Job did not sin against the Lord. Even in Job chapter 2, verse 9, his wife said to him, do you still hold fast your integrity? Curse God and die. But he said to her, you speak as one of the foolish women speaks. Shall we indeed accept good from God and not accept adversity? In all this, Job did not sin with his lips. It's not a sin to be discouraged or depressed, or even Job was so distraught. He had lost all his children. He had lost everything except a wife who would tell him to curse God and die. He did not sin against the Lord. Finally, let's look at the outcome of Job's experience in the final chapter. Job answered the Lord and said, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have declared that which I did not understand, things too wonderful for me, which I did not know. He didn't understand why he was going through what he was going through. In fact, he didn't understand the all of creation. And so he said, things too wonderful for me to know. I did not know. Hear now, and I will speak. I will ask you, and you instruct me. I have heard of you by the hearing of the ear, but now my eyes sees you. Therefore I retract and repent in dust and ashes. It came about after the Lord had spoken these words to Job that the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, my wrath is kindled against you and against your two friends, because you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. Now therefore take for yourselves 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job and offer up a burnt offering for yourselves, and my servant Job will pray for you. So God says his servant Job spoke of him what was right, even though Job questioned God and Job cursed the day of his birth, still he did not sin against the Lord. It is not a sin to question God. It is not a sin to be discouraged and distraught and in so much sorrow that you can't eat. You can't see anything but darkness. And so in Job's questioning God, in Job's cursing the day of his birth, still in all he did not sin against God with his lips. And God, in fact, will welcome and invite our questioning, and he will answer. He will answer. It's the accusations against God that are unacceptable, because Job found out that he didn't know all things, and what we do in our ignorance is forgivable. There are sacrifices for sins of ignorance, and Jesus died for our ignorance, the sin of our ignorance. So here Job acknowledges his ignorance, and God does not condemn Job for having cursed the day of his birth and for having questioning God. God contended with him. And here God tells his friends that he is not pleased with his friends, because his friends were self-righteous and they were accusatory toward Job when they too didn't even know. They didn't know why Job was going what he was going through, and they threw accusations at him. And this displeased the Lord. So he says that have Job offer up the burnt offering for yourselves, and my servant Job will pray for you. For I will accept him, so that I may not do with you according to your folly, because you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. So Eliphaz the Temanite and Bildad the Shuhite and Zophar the Naamathite went and did as the Lord told them, and the Lord accepted Job. The Lord restored the fortunes of Job when he prayed for his friends. God gives us beauty for ashes. This is true. And the Lord increased all that Job had twofold. Then all his brothers and all his sisters and all who had known him before came to him, and they ate bread with him in his house. And they consoled him and comforted him for all the adversities that the Lord had brought on him. And each one gave him one piece of money, and each a ring of gold. The Lord blessed the latter days of Job more than his beginning, and he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 female donkeys. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters. He named the first Jemimah, and the second Keziah, and the third Keren-Happuch. In all the land no women were found so fair as Job's daughters, and their father gave them inheritance among their brothers. After this Job lived 140 years and saw his sons and his grandsons 4 generations. And Job died an old man and full of days. So if you're ever feeling discouraged, you're going through hard times and you don't understand why, take it to God, question him. And it's not a sin to be discouraged or to be crushed or devastated or to question God. He will contend with us. Let's just not ever accuse God, because accusation comes of the evil one. And even when Job's friends accused him, it was not right, because they didn't know either. There are things we just don't know, things we go through and we don't understand why. Take everything to the Lord in prayer. God does not fault us for these things, for having been devastated or for having questioned him and contended with him. What he does fault us with is self-righteousness and pride and accusation when we ourselves are in our ignorance. So I hope this is helpful to you as it is to me. God bless and keep you.